teaching children to code. Before we begin, if you enjoyed watching the video, please share your thoughts by clicking the like button, and writing them in the comments section below. If you subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell, you will be among the first people to find out when new videos are published on the channel. So let's just get started. We can't overlook the significance of teaching kids how to code. Modern children are more tech-savvy than their predecessors. The time has come to introduce these young minds to the world of industrial production. The definition of coding and guidance on how young people can get started in the field are crucial. The process of teaching young people to code is not only a science, but also a hobby and an art form. Whether it's for making music, games, or websites, kids would be interested in learning how to write simple code in software. One can learn to code in a variety of ways. Teaching kids the basics of coding at a young age is an excellent way to give them a leg up in the world. Children's programming education software comes in a wide variety of options. This comprehensive guide provides clear instructions for teaching coding to kids of all ages. Meaning of codes. Over the next decade, programmers will be in high demand all over the world. After that, the best approach to teaching and learning coding is step-by-step instruction. The first step is to define coding for children. Use simple language and relatable examples to help kids understand what you're trying to convey. If someone were to ask, "What is coding, and how do you do it?" you might use the following example to describe the process. The term code is used to describe any set of instructions that can be fed into a computer and result in a desired outcome. A single code can stand in for multiple actions, and these actions can be strung together to form a command chain. The instructions tell the computer how to perform the task, so it does it in a predetermined way. Your electronic device receives new information, finishes a level in a game, or skips to a new part of a video every time you press a button. Truly, the sky is the limit. Coding may seem daunting to those who have never tried it for themselves. When broken down into simple sentences and presented in a logical order, it's easy for kids to grasp. Various forms of coding. The first step in teaching kids how to code is to address a common concern: how do we find a common language with a computer? And how do we go about mastering computer programming? It's not uncommon for people to learn multiple languages, much like how programmers usually study several different languages. Many different languages are used in our interactions with others, and the same is true when talking to our various electronic devices. It's time to dedicate some serious effort to language study. Start with Scratch, an easy-to-learn language for beginners, and move on to others like Java, Python, and C++ as the students advance in skill. You shouldn't forget that every language serves a unique purpose and calls for the application of specialized hardware or software. Keep in mind that Scratch is intended to be used as a beginner's introduction to computer programming. You have to start from the bottom up. Scratch is the best way to teach kids how to code, and it helps kids of all ages build solid coding foundations. Children between the ages of 7 and 15 must take a coding course using Scratch. Before moving on to more advanced languages like Python, make sure your kids have a firm grasp of the alphabet and other rudimentary linguistic building blocks. According to research conducted at the University of Bristol, students' belief in their own problem-solving abilities rose significantly as a result of using Scratch. Scratch is a great way to introduce kids and adults to computer programming. This block-based programming language gives kids a chance to learn by seeing what they're doing. With this function, they can make their own characters and games by rearranging pre-made coding blocks. Even young children can use JavaScript to make games, websites, and other client-facing applications. This is an essential part of teaching kids how to code. This is the next best programming language for beginners. Java is the most popular and widely used programming language. Minecraft, a game that has gained widespread acclaim, was created using Java. Lua is yet another of these languages, and it's used in the wildly popular kid-friendly game Roblox. If you can understand this language, you won't have any trouble finding your way around here. Next, introduce kids to Python, a programming language with a bad reputation for being especially challenging. Learning Python and producing high-quality Python code will become much simpler once you have a solid foundation in the language. Motivating kids to learn coding. However, since only 4 million people graduate with degrees in computer science annually, this will leave about 1 million jobs unfilled due to a dearth of qualified applicants. Getting the attention of young people is a crucial first step in effectively educating them. As was just mentioned, you can pique their interest by asking about the languages they are fluent in and bringing up the subject of coding video games. They will follow your lead on that. It helps make lessons for kids in computer programming more effective. If you're having trouble piquing their interest in computer science, perhaps discussing the applications of data science and artificial intelligence in the realm of sports or the mechanics of how a simple button press triggers the execution of a program on one of their devices will do the trick. Learning to code may soon be as easy as turning your phone on and off. Beginner-friendly coding platforms. When teaching younger children how to code, you'll want to use a free tool like MIT's Scratch. The site is accessible from any web browser and was made with kids in mind. You should choose visually appealing classes and tutorials for your kids. Most resources for teaching young people how to code use Scratch. The inability to combine blocks of code that do not compute correctly makes syntax errors impossible in Scratch. Scratch's drag-and-drop interface makes it ideal for young users with limited typing abilities. But what about older kids? It's likely that they want to move on to a more challenging language. As soon as they've mastered the fundamentals of using Scratch, kids are ready to take on more challenging projects. Teaching younger children and adolescents, especially those on the verge of entering this age group, to code entails instructing them in programming languages such as Python. Due to its easy-to-understand syntax, it serves as a great introduction to programming. Programming is taught by writing codes. Practice makes perfect, as the old adage goes. The best way to teach students to code is to have them write their own programs. Words can only go so far in piquing a youth's interest in computer programming. Regular practice in coding is an excellent way for kids to gain the hands-on experience that is so important to learning. Python is a great option for kids who are interested in learning to code because it is an easy language to pick up and use right away. Thus, questions about the rules are encouraged. Get your kids interested in learning how to code video games in multiple languages. It will be safe for them to leave. Beginner coding isn't computer science. The ability to think critically and with better concepts at the forefront of your mind is a common trait among those with a background in computer science or software development. It gives us great satisfaction to be able to pass on our knowledge and experience to students like you, whose minds are still growing and developing. Learning to code will be a prerequisite for 4 of the top 10 jobs in the future. In spite of the fact that computing skills are essential for the majority of jobs in the mathematical and scientific fields, only 2% of students choose to major in computer science. Kids must learn to code. Because Python is such a difficult programming language, it is best to steer clear of using it on mobile devices like Chromebooks, iPads, and other tablets whenever possible. A young student would do well to have a basic personal computer that contains only the most fundamental software and hardware. Children in today's society rely on electronic gadgets just as much as their parents did on soccer balls and guitars, when they were first learning to play an instrument.